Hilarious. This guy's doing reverse throws over here, getting ready to get throw with pens. So what's up, guys? John Sintes here, Cutternation podcast. We got a special one here, my man Casey Dill. But first, help us out, smash, crush, do everything. Hit that like button there on YouTube. We're over on Twitch live right now. Check out our online store, cutternation.net. This is a sick episode. I'm super excited. Cass Kreitlow just stepped out of the frame. Of course he did. Casey Dill. For everybody that doesn't know, my man Casey here is he's married to the game. He's a baseball lifer. I met Casey, I don't know, what are we, 7 years ago?
Yeah, 2013, I think.
2013, 2012, something like that. I think it was 12 or 13. But you and I foes at the beginning, and just, you're the guy on the other squad. I'm a guy who loves to win. And so I just remember talking to you one day, and I don't remember if we were at the halfway house that we were staying in or if we were in the hotel. But I just remember having a conversation and realizing like what the league was. Because I was, me being from Florida and a small town guy, like I knew it was networking, but I didn't know how to ask the right questions. I didn't know where to do. And, and I don't even know if you know this, but I got in an argument with Chris Patterson. I have no problem saying this guy's name because
I've done that.
We got a huge argument, and then he traded me to Santa Fe the next day. And then I went back into his office, and I was like, dude, I have a 0 ERA, right? And like I had it, and the whole argument was, we have 100 guys on our roster. You got us in the middle of Alamogordo at 12 o'clock for an 8 o'clock game. We got no food, no water, and you want me to shag BP for 100 guys, 100 off roster, on roster dudes. Why am I standing out here doing this? And he just couldn't give me a good answer. So he traded me to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Probably the best thing to ever happen.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Right. Like and so that was my first taste of like, I thought people had things together in the Pro Bowl, and nothing against the Pecos League. I understood what I was getting myself into, and I owe a lot to the Pecos League. Like some people think it's not a good league. Like if you understand what it is, they are on Baseball Reference. They do have numbers, which like that's kind of the only way you can figure it out is by going to these lower leagues and then getting to where the things that you have now. So sorry for that small introduction to our history and everything, but why don't you introduce yourself? I know we tried to do a podcast before, but we had some connectivity issues. But let everybody know who you are, where you came from, how you got to today in 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for having me. Glad we're able to make it work. So like you said, my first big break was when I was in the Pecos League in 2012. I'd ran my own summer collegiate programs for a lot of years, kind of got those to the point where I couldn't make it any bigger, any better. So I said, hey, I want to give Pro Ball a shot. And I was lucky enough to know someone who knew someone who referred me to the owner of the league and got me my first big break in professional baseball. At the time, I was the youngest manager in professional baseball at 27 years old. And man, like you said, not always an easy lifestyle, and it's not always fun when you're in that moment, in that kind of league, but the people you meet and the networking you do and just the life lessons. I always tell people, man, and I felt like this after my time was done there, that if you could be successful in that league, you could be successful anywhere. It just turns you into a different human being. It becomes survival, and it becomes, you know what, I'm not going to go through all of this and not have it work out. So when you're in that moment, it can be very hard. And one of the biggest reasons I don't talk to every player on every other team. There's no possible way I can. When you were playing, I was managing my own club, but you really see the people that love baseball. And that's the best thing that I got out of the Pecos League is I met people that loved it as much as me. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there going through that kind of lifestyle, So kind of from there, I managed 4 more years of independent professional baseball after that in the Pacific Association. I got into scouting in 2015. The Atlanta Braves sponsored me to go to Major League Baseball scouting school. I realized that pursuing just being a professional manager really kind of narrowed what my job possibilities are, and that also professional managing jobs are very seasonal. So I didn't want to work baseball for 3 or 4 months out of the year and then have to go get a real job. I wanted baseball to be my job year round. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to manage and I'm also going to scout, So I was lucky enough that in my managing in independent ball, I developed a good relationship with the national cross-checker of the Atlanta Braves, and he had sent me a lot of players over the years. So when scout school came up and I was like, dude, send me. I already had a really good working relationship with him. He'd sent me a lot of his guys, and they ended up being some of my better players on those 2012 and 2013 teams. So, and then I got into scouting, and I still do that to this day. I think managing and being on the field and helping guys get better is my number one passion. But I love the fact that at any given point when I'm watching baseball, I could write a major league scouting report on somebody, get some video, and boom, send that thing in immediately. And I've done that several times since 2015. And to see guys, and not all these guys get signed by the Braves or even by major league clubs, but you have a major league scouting report and a guy that comes from a scouting and professional managing background put something together for you and send that out to independent clubs. Man, I've had guys in the Frontier League. I've had guys in the American Association, all these very high level independent professional baseball leagues. And now I exclusively work with the Southern Illinois Miners of the Frontier League, which very cool thing about the Frontier League. I won't go too much off topic, but they're an official partner league of Major League Baseball now. So what Major League Baseball is doing is they're eliminating almost 200 of their minor league clubs, mostly at the A level, and affiliated or what was independent ball is going to really fill that gap more than ever. So you're looking at the Frontier League, American Association, and Atlantic League all being partner leagues of Major League Baseball. So got a little bit off topic there, but I also
I think it's important. If you're talking about pro baseball and the things you were saying, I think Indy League gets a bad rap, like even if the Pecos, right? But 100%. Taylor Ahern, one of our employees who's a great pitcher who played in the American Association and won a championship with Milwaukee, was talking about that was the most difficult level of baseball he had ever played in the American Association, and he loved it. And that's what guys like me and people that love good competition, I tell kids all the time, I'm not that good. I gave up 4 89-mile-an-hour bombs in the cage today against the guy that doesn't care how hard I throw, right? Mm-hmm. And so, that's the thing, that looking at how we want to tell the story in the game. This is why I partnered up with you, trying to bring you in. Like you and I have talked, you've been a great baseball mind, and, you've been an inspiration to me as well, looking at the game differently. I came in through in your league and the Palm Springs Power and went and looked at it. And I did that intentionally, and we didn't really get to talk that very much, but I wanted to see what you were doing, Casey. And so, it's important for me to surround ourselves with guys that are legit, that actually care about the game on the same level as we do. And Cass and I talk about it all the time. Is finding baseball psychos that don't care about the conventional route to go about it. I broke my arm in college, and I had doctors and scouts and people telling me that there's no way you'll play professional baseball, and I just didn't believe it. And then once I saw for what it was, and then just literally asked a couple questions, and then got an invite to a Mexican minor league spring training. And then all of a sudden I realized there's a whole nother world of possibilities of baseball to be played out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head. I think that there's, there's just as many bad baseball people out there as there are good people. So when you find people that do it for the right reasons, I know that you genuinely care about and want to help your guys develop and reach the highest level possible. Every guy you work with, you are doing everything that you can to make him better so he could play at the highest possible level he possibly can. I've got no doubt about that with you. And that's the same way that I am. If I choose to work with a guy, or even a guy like Sam DiMatteo, who's a head college baseball coach right now, I was his first coaching job. He was my assistant in 2017, and now he's a head college coach. And I like to feel that, Sam deserves it. He loves it like we do. Don't get me wrong, but I put a lot of effort into getting him ready in a short period of time to be a head college coach. You know what I mean? And I put that kind of effort into anybody that puts that much effort into themselves. That's the first thing I look for. I'll put all my effort into you, but you've got to meet me halfway and at least put as much effort into yourself. And that's how you determine the guys that love it and the guys that don't.
Right. Totally. I have a question. Totally. Can we go back? I actually want some more clarification on what's going on, because you probably know a lot more than I do with Major League Baseball and independent contracts that they're negotiating right now. Or I don't even know. Can you clarify on that?
Sure, yeah. So Major League Baseball is eliminating between 150 and 200 affiliated minor league teams, and most of those are at the A level. So you're talking about, let's say, 150 times 25 guys per team. There's going to be that many more players out there that were playing minor league baseball last year that don't have jobs. So a lot of these teams that were affiliated are now going to turn into Frontier League teams, American Association teams, and Atlantic League teams. Those widely have been considered the 3 highest levels of independent professional baseball that have ever been around. And Major League Baseball is also saying this. We are not going to call the Frontier League, American Association, or Atlantic League independent baseball. That's no longer independent baseball. That's just professional baseball. And then you're looking at like the United Shore League, the Pecos League. That's independent ball. So it's separating, as John said earlier, like the word independent ball can have some negativeness behind it. So if Major League Baseball is going to associate themselves with these leagues, they're saying, no, you're no longer independent ball. You are professional baseball now.
But
and
not
that's
affiliate.
the separation.
So
but
that's
not affiliate.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird, too. It's a different game. You know what I mean?
What's their
like
incentive, though?
Well, their incentive is they don't have to pay the payroll for all these teams that they're getting rid of. Instead, the independent teams can pay the payroll for them, and they can sign their players just as easy. So these teams are serving as their minor leagues, but they're not having to run the business or baseball operation side of it. It's a business.
That business strategy sounds real familiar. Pecos League. Just say it.
Exactly.
It's like the same. It's an Andrew Dunn strategy run by Major League Baseball.
It is. You're absolutely right.
Hilarious. I mean, hats off to that guy. He just knew about tax laws and things, as I found out too. I was like, oh, I see what you're doing here.
If we want to do a whole other podcast about that, we can. I can go on all day.
Right, for sure. I don't doubt
we probably should. These are the things that, as somebody who didn't play professionally, that I have seen. I've been around a lot of professionals, and it's like, from the outside, it seems so obvious that, like, how does anybody put up with some of this stuff? Like, it's so weird.
I lived in a halfway house.
And you have to be a real kind of freak.
Right.
But I was thinking, just like, even from the player development side, I'm always like, what the heck? How does Major League Baseball not get some of these things? Like how, like, organizations not being able to tell their players that strength and conditioning is good for them. Like, I heard that 3 years ago, an organization just started being allowed to. It's crazy. And
the amount of rules are insane.
Oh man.
Yeah. It's a crazy world.
For sure. All right, so let's get into the details on the event. I had some people reach out and call, and I thought this is the best way for us to talk about what we're trying to do. You've been doing this for a little while. Like you said, you mentioned the Atlanta Braves. You mentioned Sam DiMatteo. He's going to be, there too. I had a question about, and I think this is a great way to handle this, the network of schools and teams and people to do this. Let's go over the format. Let's go over what people are going to get. And then, if you have any questions for me as well.
Sure, yeah. I mean, first, and this is another thing that's going on in baseball right now, Major League Baseball organizations are getting rid of scouts. They're one, because of everything that's going on with travel restrictions and liability. Two, because now you have all these data measurable things, like you have pitch logic. I use Flight Scope at my events, which is, so scouts are kind of being, not all of them, scouts are being replaced by data measurables, So these data measurables now are more important now than ever. They show you things that you have never been able to see before. I'll give you an example. In my summer league this summer, we had a kid that threw 82 belt high down the middle and just missed barrels. And everyone's like, what's going on? He throws 82 belt high down the middle. Why are they not finding barrels all over the place? And it turned out he had like a 2,400 spin rate, and which is like a major league spin rate. So, and that's something that if I'm just watching baseball and I have my radar gun out there, that's not telling me that. I can't see that. The ball's already spinning too fast. I can't count spins. Come on, So, and that's just one example. There's things like exit velo and all this other stuff that major league clubs can now say, okay, if your exit velo is 98 and above, that's a major league exit velo. And if your spin rate is 2,300 and above, that's a major league spin rate. So we are going to have more than just one type of data measurable. Flight Scope is used in major league organizations. I'm not too familiar with pitch logic and some of the stuff that you use. I mean, maybe you can go into that stuff a little bit. But so the whole point of the event is it's a tryout and combine, because, yes, I do have the power to sign for the Frontier League, for the Southern Illinois Miners, and I send players out to other teams. But two, it's to really see where do you stack up against the average college player, the average Division I player, a player that gets drafted, a player that's in the minor leagues, and a player that's in Major League Baseball. You get to see exactly where you're at. And if I see something that I'm like, okay, like that's a professional prospect, that's a draft prospect. It's as simple as me filling out a scouting report and turning it in with the data measurables. That's how that happens. Colleges are doing the same thing. D1 schools still cannot go out and watch baseball right now. They're still on lockdown, and that deadline is more than likely going to be extended to April. So how do you get exposure to schools that can't come watch you play? It has to be with data measurables. It has to be with scouting reports. It has to be with video. Those are the things that you can do. So, I mean, people have asked me too, what schools are going to be there? What schools are going to be there? And the truth is not very many, but that's not where your value is in the event. The value is you're going to get data that's used by major league organizations, Division I universities, all the way down to junior colleges, to where they're making signing decisions. I had a college guy the other day. They got a full ride scholarship offer to a Division I based on video and data measurables. That's how it happened. We put it out on Twitter, and he got a full ride scholarship. It's like that's what is happening now. So when people, they need to think outside of the box. One, think about where we're at, just in the world, and how that's affected baseball at the professional level, at the college level, and this event that we're doing. Man, it's just the perfect event to accommodate everything that's going on right now.
Exactly what I was thinking. Your network and my network on social media, people may not understand how hard we've built that thing and how much value it brings to it. I feel like the agents kind of have the same movement. It's a lot of interesting points there, what you're saying on the data measurables that are verified through some of this technology, that we know that when that player shows up, he's going to be a guy. I remember growing up and going to a couple showcases and almost being confused on like what to do, but like didn't even realize that I should be asking for my velos or anything for that, just to get real feedback. You would throw and leave and then just hope someone would call you. You know what I mean? And you had no idea what you were doing. And so, without this information, I just feel like, people are just bumbling in the dark. And that's where, a lot of this, this data, this information that you're bringing down, that we're going to be able to combine with some of the video that we put together for these kids. And, Twitter is a powerful thing when you have the correct network.
Yeah, and you got to put some good stuff out there. Like I talk to people all the time that say, "Hey, I love the stuff you put out on Twitter." I try to put out advice, positive information, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, we have a good social media network, but it's because we put out good stuff that people need. They need to understand this stuff to help them really. Like I think we break down walls and tell the truth. We don't say what you want to hear. We say this is the truth. This is how it is. And And that's how it should be. And I think that's why we both have as much credibility as we do.
It's funny that you say that too, because I've had pro guys reach out and be like, "Hey, could you not show my radar gun reading?" And I'm like, "Why?
Radar gun don't lie."
What are you trying to hide? Like, yeah. I mean, I can get it if you don't want to get exposed, but like, this is a game when it comes down to it. And if you're good, you're good. You're bad, you're bad. And if you're worried about hiding something because you're worried about being exposed, then like, you probably shouldn't be playing the game that way. You should probably not worry about getting struck out by a 34-year-old old guy,
Yeah, with a broken arm that throws 145 pitches, that had a 3 ERA and 10,000 feet elevation. I hear you.
Oh man, broken bat home runs are just heartbreakers,
Oh yeah, we had a bunch there. I don't think off of you, but we had a bunch there.
Oh, I remember I gave up back-to-backs to White Sands. I remember a back-to-back inside to lefties, broken bat home runs, either through the hole that was in the fence or over it. We don't know. We have no idea.
And also sometimes off of the firehouse behind left field.
Right. That was a bomb though. If you hit it on the firehouse there, that was hey. Because it was
some MLB exit velo.
Right. It was, I think we measured it one time, but we had to walk it off because obviously we didn't have a measuring tape, but we walked up. It was 370 down the line. So that was such a weird shaped field. We had 253 down the right field line. Right center was 276. There was a 15-foot wall, like chain link fence with holes in it. So if it went through, there was no way at night knowing it could have been a home run. I have no idea.
Yeah, the umpires are always going to give it the benefit of the doubt.
Right. I remember a guy who lives in San Diego now. It's hilarious. Michael Lang hit a ball down the right field line, clearly fouled by about 20 feet. And the guy went right. We're like, "Are you serious?" Like, it was hilarious. Like,
the lights are only 40 feet high there. You get them above the lights, you can't see it anymore.
Hey, what is baseball? So that's awesome. So that actually is a great transition. Speaking of lighting and how much of a nerd we are with this place. So I wanted to talk about our facility, what we have here at Cutternation. We got a 4,000 square foot baseball facility with a hitting and pitching side. So at our place, when we're running this combine, We're going to be doing the data measurables on all the pitchers. So you'd be throwing in the Rapsodo. We have a Rapsodo. We have a Pitch Logic. Those are going to give similar numbers to what we're doing, but they're going to tell different stories, right? The Rapsodo is going to be able to give us the spin rate and all the normal stuff you're seeing, but Pitch Logic adds a little bit more depth with a 3D mapping of the pitches so we can actually see where it tunnels. So we'll put all that data and video together with there. And then day 2, like we were saying, live at bats, right? So we're going to video it. We got flight scope to find out. And this is where I think that our 80-foot cage, so we have an 80-foot wide, 11.5 feet tall, 17 feet wide, beautiful indoor, 17,000 lumens with 32 perfect LED lights for perfect inside, outside feeling lighting. So this is the thing that I'm jacked up about. We have a perfect environment. So all the data measurables work correctly, which is kind of a thing. If you don't have the lighting for a Rapsodo or for a flight scope, then the way that those systems read the ball, it won't do it as accurate. And it has to be as accurate as possible. So setting up a perfect environment was something I really pride ourselves on.
Yeah, and I've never done one of these events inside before. We typically do these outside, and we're not able to do them in November. But so the fact that you have the facility that can accommodate a professional style workout where we're getting these data measurables, this has been the only facility that I've even thought it was possible, and it's capable of doing it. So I love what you guys are doing there, and the fact that you're right. If you don't have correct lighting, and like, for example, flight scope, you need 15 feet behind the catcher to get all accurate measurables. And my first concern was, John, does your facility have 15 feet? Because I've tried to do this before, and I've never found a facility that has the space I need. You're like, oh, dude, no problem. We got 25 feet behind the 80-foot cage. No big deal, So I'm excited to really do one of these workouts indoors for the first time, and it's awesome that you have everything we need to accommodate it.
Yeah, man, I'm jacked too. I couldn't, flight scope's such a cool piece of technology. I can't wait to mess around it and see what information that we can get on it. We don't have a hitting unit yet, but it's going to happen. I got to pull the trigger on it,
Yeah, it's all amazing stuff. Flight scope's also one of the only ones that can do in-game. So it'll track the pitcher, it'll track the hitter, it tracks carry distance. So it's one of the few data measuring systems that records everything all at once.
So it's going to do, if we do a live at bat and we have flight scope on it, we'll be able to get the pitch coming in, and then if the guy hits the bomb, we'll be able to see it go out as well, correct?
Correct.
Oh, that's big time. Live AB mode, man. You might have changed my mind on where I need to be focusing our attention on. The flight scope sounds real sexy for sure.
What I loved most about it was it's in game. You set it up behind the catcher and you just let it go. And everything that happens on the field, it's recording in real time. So you're getting pitch angle, exit velo, carry distance. I mean, every data metric you could possibly think of is updating in real time for the pitcher and the hitter. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. So we're going to be able to do a BP setup on Friday for our hitters for them to be able to show their measurables, correct? Can you run me through what they're going to get through that?
Yeah, so pro style workout day 1, everybody come ready to run. Like, that's the number one mistake guys make sometimes at these things is, especially when we're doing an event in November. A lot of them come and they go, I'm going to come there, I'm going to play, no big deal. No, this is your opportunity to show us what you can do. So if you're not here ready to run, we're going to get your home to first time. That's what major league organizations use to determine your speed. So come ready to run. Everyone's going to do the home to first. We're going to get everybody's velo. All position players or infielders will typically throw from shortstop because at the professional level and at the college level, at some point, everyone was a shortstop. So if you can play shortstop, you can play second, you can play third. That's kind of the idea there. We get their velo across the diamond. And then we're going to get all of the outfielders velo as well, where they'll get a nice little ground ball, a good crow hop. They'll let it fly. As an outfielder, arm strength is a very important tool. Sometimes it's a reason you get signed or you get an offer. And then they're going to roll right into just getting ready for live ABs the next day. And that could be tees, front toss, BP, all of the above. The whole idea is, hey, get ready to see some live pitching, and for some of these guys, it might be the first time they see a live pitch since who knows how long. So,
right.
Again, I want to reiterate, try to come as ready as you possibly can. This is your opportunity to show what you can do.
Right. And so we're going to be recorded on video, matching everything together, building a nice package for you when you come in and you get the whole thing. Right. And so we'll do our best to edit it down to try to show the best product that we can for the athletes that are coming in and try to show off.
Yeah, I love that you're packaging video with it. Obviously, video is more important now than ever, you know? So the fact that we're packaging video, data measurables, all that stuff into one, that's how recruiting and signing decisions are happening now. So it's really cool what we're doing.
For the record, I was thinking of this earlier, coaching at the D3 level and the recruiting process there. I mean, a lot of the recruits are from online platforms, and the video quality is always so laughable. And I just was always like, hey, you know, I would even say it to my lessons back there before we were doing anything like we're doing here. But just like my video from my phone is better than most of the stuff that I see on some of these online things. So just plugging that for a record as a college coach that knows how
yeah, and I'll add on to that. There's, I mean, 95% of the colleges in America that have baseball programs have very small to no recruiting budgets. You know, and now more than ever, there's going to be less recruiting budget, and there's going to be more video and data measurable. It's just so it's so relevant to what we're doing, to what's going on in just the world of recruiting and scouting now. So thank you for pointing that out, because there's more programs like yours that are smaller programs than there are the major top 25 D1 programs that everybody knows about.
Right on. And we're definitely really focusing on capturing the 4K quality for what we're trying to do. We're going to be able to send it off to the people, put it on YouTube, and make sure that everybody gets it's as weird as it sounds pretty simple to me. And I know you know about the flight scope and the other stuff too, but it'll be very simple for us to put together everything that we need. And I couldn't be more jacked. That was the guy right there that just hit the home run, hit 3 home runs. It was pretty exciting.
Did he keep the ball?
it was a little mushed, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's what it is, right? So, all right, cool. Well, you know what? I don't want to eat up too much more of your time, but you know, I appreciate you explaining it. You know, we're going to be using our networks, building a good video package, getting some data. You know, a very unique experience for everybody that wants to come check this out. It's not the only one we're going to plan on doing. We're going to get better at this. You know, the first one we're going to have some feel on it for right here, but I'm really excited about, you know, a very minimum semi-annual kind of event, if not more. And you and I talked about maybe doing some stuff, you know, sooner rather than later. And I think this weekend will be a good test to see how it runs. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I'm pumped. And we're just in a beautiful location, tons of baseball talent. So I'm expecting, you know, I haven't done one of these events where we haven't had a couple guys signed to go play professional. We've had guys that go on and play internationally. We've helped guys move on to colleges. So I've never done one in Southern California before, where you know, the talent level is as good as anywhere in the country. So I'm super excited to see, you know, what kind of talent we have at the event.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. And Casey, I appreciate it, man. Guys, we're going to put a link in the description. There's still some available spots to sign up for our combine that we have going on. Cass, you got anything?
No, good to meet you, man. Appreciate having you on.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Casey. I appreciate it, man. You guys, we can't wait to see you soon. Casey, we got to keep this going, man. This is awesome. I appreciate it.
No doubt about it.